Steve Byrne of Talking Heads fame believes that musicians and composers, mostly without even thinking about it, create music for the venues that are available to them. That's why the Ramones sounded great at CBGB's, and a symphony orchestra sounds right in a symphony hall, but not necessarily vice versa. There might be no other form of music for which Byrne's theory rings truer than for chamber music. Sarah Rothenberg, the artistic director of DeCamera, a presenting organization here in Houston, said that back when chamber music first began, it was actually called musica de camera, or music of the room, as opposed to a church where most music was happening. Chamber music was played in homes and courts. Here's Sarah telling you a little bit more about what chamber music is.
The term chamber music dates back probably to the 16th, 17th century, and it was the idea of musica da camera, which is where our organization gets its name, da camera, which literally means music of the room. And this referred to two things: music that was not being performed in church, so non-religious music, and often music that was being performed in private homes or in courts. But a more general term that might be helpful is the idea that it's one musician on a part. So everyone is playing their line, as opposed to an orchestra where you have entire sections, violins, violas, who are all playing the same thing. And so you have a more intimate sized group. It could be even one person playing music, technically is still chamber music, although people think of it as ensemble. So musicians playing together, and usually without a conductor. So chamber music is a term that I wish it sounded a little different than it does. It sounds antiquated from the start, from the get-go. And a lot of very great chamber music is being written even as we speak.
So frankly, the term chamber music sounds pretty boring. Something somebody might use in like an online dating profile to make themselves sound smart. I like long walks on the beach, chamber music, and cats. But actually, chamber groups were the original garage bands. In fact, the configuration of rock bands and jazz groups have their roots in chamber music. Like a garage band, it's music that's played for fun, and sometimes just for friends. In fact, chamber music is often called the music of friends. It can be played by amateurs or experienced players. But you can also think of it as proto-classical music. Chamber music existed way before the classical era, back in the Baroque period during the Middle Ages and Renaissance era. Then Haydn came along and began to play with the form, creating string quartets, formalizing things, and then Mozart and Beethoven came along. Eventually, chamber music entered into the concert hall, and players were added and the symphony orchestra was born. But before all of that, there were people hanging out together and playing music just because they wanted to. The instruments and the musical ideas of the Baroque era sound antiquated to us. But the spirit of just enjoying hanging out together and jamming, from the Renaissance to Charlie Parker to the Talking Heads and the Emerson String Quartet, it's all the same. People loving playing music together. We just want to say, thanks, chamber music, for basically everything. By the way, did you know that May is National Chamber Music Month? Yay! Go out and see some chamber music this month. If ever there was a time to do it, it is now. But if you can't get out to experience chamber music, you can always go to our website. We're doing a lot of special content about chamber music this month. Just go to houstonpublicmedia.org/chamber-music, and you'll find a whole bunch of stuff there. For more Classical Classroom, go to houstonpublicmedia.org/classroom. You can subscribe to our show on iTunes, or you can listen to us on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/classicalclassroom. You can see a full listing of all of our shows there, from when we first began. Send emails about our shows or your gourmet baking recipes to dclay@houstonpublicmedia.org. Thanks to audio producer Todd T-Bone Hulslander for making this sound so good. To program director Sinjin Flynn for directing like a boss. To me for my crack research and golden throat. But thanks mostly to you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.